I'd like to thank the board for calling a special session meeting tonight in order to reevaluate the December 5th decision to terminate Mrs. Sharron Heinrich as principal of Gabriel, Ohio. A primary concern of the community is that due process was not followed in this matter, and that the district's own policies concerning complaints against district personnel were violated. I actually took some time over the holidays and read through the bylaws and policies of our board. They're posted online, and I found the following points to be relevant to the current situation. Board Policy 1140 defines the board's primary functions as the formulation of policies and judgment of results. Its ultimate goal is the maintenance and upgrading of the educational standards and facilities so that the best possible education will be available to the children of the community, end quote. This definition does not seem to include initiating personnel matters directly with St. Gabriel employees, unless an employee is the superintendent. In fact, the same board policy states that, quote, members of the board individually will refer compliments, suggestions, and constructive criticism about operational matters directly to the superintendent for appropriate consideration and action. Administrative Regulation 1312 states that to promote prompt and fair resolution of the complaint, the following procedures shall govern the resolution of complaints against district employees. Every effort should be made to resolve a complaint at the earliest possible stage. Whenever possible, the complainant should communicate directly to the employee in order to resolve concerns. If a complainant is unable or unwilling to resolve the complaint directly with the employee, he or she may submit an oral or written complaint to the employee's immediate supervisor. Complaints related to a principal shall be initially filed in writing with the superintendent. A written complaint shall include a brief but specific, emphasis on specific, summary of the complaint and the facts surrounding it. A specific description of any prior attempt to discuss the complaint with the employee and the failure to resolve the matter. Quote, before any board consideration of a complaint, the superintendent shall submit to the board a written report concerning the complaint, including a brief but specific summary of the complaint and the facts surrounding it, sufficient to inform the board and the parties as to the precise nature of the complaint and to allow the parties to prepare a response. Secondly, a summary of the action taken by the superintendent, together with his or her specific finding that the problem has not been resolved. The community feels like the appropriate process was short-circuited. The public doesn't need to know the details of what was done, but I think it's fair to say that we would like to know that the proper channels and procedures were followed. This would give the community confidence that our board is not acting in a personally whimsical or rogue fashion. I respectfully request that the board reinstate Mrs. Heinrich as principal of Gabriel.
Please join the queue.
My name is Darlene Pope. I'm not a teacher at Gabriel. I'm a teacher here at Jefferson. And I'd like to first thank you for this opportunity to address you. And I would like to commend the board for reconsidering their decision of December 5th. I know and respect many of the people both on this stage, in the audience, and I hope to learn to know and respect those I don't know about yet. But one of the people I most admire is Sharron Heinrich. You see, her leadership capacity has extended beyond Gabriel. Indeed, she has been key in my own professional growth from the time I came to this district about 13 years ago. To the point where last year, when Jefferson was going through a very difficult time, Dr. Parks initiated a transition committee. And she picked 2 teachers to be on that committee because they were highly effective. I had the honor of being one of those. And I would submit to you that the reason I was one of those has a lot to do with Sharron Heinrich. For I attribute the crafting of my professional expertise to her mentoring. Without her influence, I know I would not be the teacher I am today. But she has inspired me to continually hone my craft, to seek opportunities to serve all students, but most especially those who are underserved. And she is the true definition of a leader, in my opinion, because she is one who empowers others to soar, rather than simply dictate from above. I also know I'm not the only teacher whose practice has been enhanced by the leadership of this dedicated professional. I began my short address by acknowledging the openness of the board to reconsider the decision. But I would like to conclude by acknowledging the power Sharron's leadership has had on the teachers and students of San Gabriel. I hope the board does so as well.
Please join me here.
Greeting, governing board members. My name is Paul Tran. I'm a Gabriel High School alumni of the graduating class of 2010. I would like to read an excerpt of the California Brown Act, which defines legislative intent. Quote, in enacting this chapter, the legislature defines and declares that public commissions, boards, and councils and other public agencies in the state exist to aid in the conduct of the people's business. It is in the intent of the law that their actions be taken openly and their deliberations be conducted openly. The people of this state do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them. The people, in delegating authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. I hope that in the coming days, the board will abide by these rules and represents those who stand before them. Please realize that Gabriel High School has only been in existence for about 18 years. It is a young establishment and it needs stability. In the past 6 years, since 2007, Gabriel has faced changes in their administration from Dr. G. Murphy, Mr. David Chris, Mrs. Rosa Valdez, Mr. Samuel Foster, Mr. Deanne Talbot. Finally, after 6 years, we have stability. Mrs. Heinrich, Mr. Lyons, Ms. Esmond, and Mr. Lopez. We have 4 people that are willing to dedicate their time to GHS, to dedicate their passions to the idea of constant and never-ending improvement. Gabriel has finally found something. I hope that you can become part of Gabriel's future, part of our history, and help root our school down to a stronger foundation so that it can continue to grow as it has in the past 2 years of this.
Jerry Schwartz, please join me here.
I'm Mary Rachel. I'm a mom at Gabriel High School, and I thank you for holding this meeting tonight to consider the decision that was made previous 2 meetings ago. I am a member of the PTSA, but I do not speak tonight on their behalf. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. As a mom, I have been in the PTA at every school level in our district, and I've worked under many principals, and Mrs. Heinrich happens to be my favorite. She's not my favorite because she's nice, although she is. She's my favorite because I have never failed to see her passion for the students that she serves. I know that she loves her staff, I know that she loves the parents, but I know that she loves my son most. Sorry, most of the parents. Last year, I felt it was a particularly low year for our school board. The year was spent, in my opinion, as a person who went to the meetings and tried to stay informed, the year was spent in trying to increase the union presence in our school district. And I could never understand how that benefited not only my son, but the other students in our school. So when I was deciding what I might speak about tonight, I thought I would speak as a mother who is in my home and also as a leader in the PTSA. Because 2 things happen when you're in leadership frequently. One is you allow things to become personal. You don't need to, but when you're a leader and you see different things happening and you have strong opinions, you allow things to be personal. And in my opinion, that's part of what happened in the firing of Mrs. Heinrich. I think certain things were allowed to be personal. So as a school board, I would love to admonish you to please be very careful that things not be personal. The second thing is, when I've been in leadership, sometimes we don't define our role as leaders. And if we do not define our role as leaders, we will not know where we have strayed. And I believe very firmly that that is what happened to the school board last year. You did not define your role as leaders, and you let a union presence determine what you would do instead of your role. In my opinion, your role as a school board is to do the very best by every single student. I would love that you took good care of me, but that is not your job. I would love that you would take good care of our staff, but that is not even your primary job. If you are a Gabriel student or a student at any school in our district, will you please stand? Those people that you saw standing, that is the only hill that you have a right to die on in your position as district